As you've likely heard, Iowa Representative Steve King has been removed from committee assignments after making comments in defense of white supremacy. He said that what's so offensive? When did it become offensive to talk about things like white supremacy? So that happened. Now, particularly noteworthy is his removal from the House Agricultural Committee, which is a platform that he used being a representative from Iowa, which is this major agricultural state. It's a platform that really has allowed him to put forth some of the most heinous, not only statements, but policy proposals you could imagine, in really, quote-unquote defending farmers, but really some anti-animal positions that he's taken up. So a history of anti-activist, anti-animal comments on his Twitter and his Facebook. You can look those up. There's a lot of that out there. Specifically, the King Amendment to the Farm Bill, excuse me, something he's proposed for years now, and luckily has been shot down excuse me, in each of the last two final versions of the Farm Bill. But what that was proposing to do was to strike down all animal welfare laws at the local level and at the state level. So we're talking about like California's Proposition 2, Proposition 12. We're talking bans on fur in Berkeley, in West Hollywood, San Francisco, LA. We're talking about bans on dog fighting, dog and cat meat. We're talking about bans on veal crate and gestation crates in some states that had previously banned them, and really just, the wild, wild west is what it would have been left to if Representative King had had his way. He also in 2012 made some, not only like a disturbing, but just frankly bizarre comments in regards to dog fighting. So let's take a look at that quick clip.
When the legislation that passed in the Farm Bill that says that it's a federal crime to watch animals fight or to induce someone else to watch an animal fight, but it's not a federal crime to induce somebody to watch people fighting. There's something wrong with the priorities of people that think like that. There's something wrong with Wayne Pacelle and the Humane Society of the United States way of thinking like that.
So Representative King not only being completely callous to the suffering of animals, but also apparently not really familiar with this concept of consent, and somehow drawing this parallel between human beings fighting in like a boxing ring or a wrestling match, which maybe people aren't super supportive of that in general, but at a minimum we have two human beings who are on the surface consenting to it and being paid for it and saying that this is something they want to participate in, which is certainly not true of something like dog fighting. And it's really interesting because even his position in Iowa, even the political interests of Iowa have nothing to do with dog fighting. So it really is something that even goes a level deeper with Representative King, that's not just serving his political interests, but that really gives you an insight into the mentality of the man himself. The broader message here is this concept of otherization, and we don't want to, I think animal activists tend to maybe like read into it too much and think like this is like the be-all end-all, but I think there is something to say that when you look at somebody who's different, if they are a different gender, if they're a different race, if they're a different species, and you just kind of put them in this category where they don't matter, where they don't have rights to be considered. And I actually have heard from an anonymous source who spoke with Steve King. He said that animals don't have feelings. Straight away, and this is fairly recently too. This is while he was in office, while he was proposing the King Amendment. He said that animals don't have feelings. So something that is plainly discriminatory and pseudoscientific on the face of it, but I guess when we're talking about Representative Steve King, what else are we to expect?